blast off, watch them all fall. This is AFC North Talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock them out. Hey, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North Talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North Talk.
Welcome to another edition AFC North Talk presented by Caldera Labs. We're going to be talking about them a little bit later. Shout out to everybody here. Thank you for being here in the live stream. Make sure you subscribe and like the video. If you're watching the replay, love the comments. Please check always the comments. The one thing I will say is, because this happened last time, no need to spam, guys. No need to spam. If you get spam, you will be put in a timeout, or depending, you might get kicked out of the first time. And if you keep spamming, you're going to get banned. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Enjoy the show. You can disagree with us. Just don't spam the chat. How you doing, fellas?
Good, man.
So, hey, what y'all don't know is the active Spider-Man video talk that we have in the back before the stream. I didn't even know it came out. I'm here at the house. I have a PS4. I don't have a 5 yet, but I'm looking for my cord. I'm looking for a cord. Right?
They ain't got that on phone.
You gotta have a 5. They don't got it on the phone, my boy. They don't have it no more.
You ain't gonna be able to run that on no PS4, Sonny.
Oh man, because I think my daughter would love it. That I can play with her. Anyway, saying that, there's a poll out there for the Steelers game against the Rams. That's the first game we're gonna have. We have 2 super chats, and then we're gonna get started. Says, this title gonna be sexy.
It is very pause-worthy, man. I don't
know. What is the title? Oh, who will come out first? Come on, man. That ain't even the phrasing. That ain't even the right phrasing. Y'all watch too much Mason Cameron. Y'all watch too much. Okay.
Ella Taylor here says, Love Guru is showing up. Team started to get healthy. Excited for the stretch here. By the way, before I go and keep going with this, Harbaugh, I think one of the errors that Harbaugh committed was why that we didn't have a bye this week. Our bye is week 13, coming from London. We don't have a bye until week 13.
Yeah, you chose the Lions, right?
Yeah. No, I don't know if you chose that. You don't choose the opponent. You choose if you want to play at home or take a bye. That's the choice, right? And most people take a bye because it's a long trip. I mean, coming from London, you are exhausted, and they chose to play. Anyway.
And then they got the week 18 bye or some shit like that.
It's week, I think it's the last one, week 13 or 14, whatever it is. It's one of the last. It's just insane. Saying that, Guru, you guys play on the road against the Rams. I'm always leery of any team cross-country, right? East going to West, West going to East. It's usually not favorite match, but you guys are coming from a bye. The Rams, in my opinion, are a team that I thought they were going to be trash. I thought they were going to tank, and they actually are better than what I thought, at least. They definitely are not any pushover. They always had 99 there ready to wreck those O-lines, and that interior O-line is definitely going to be tested. They also had the young guy. I forgot his name.
Avila.
Which one?
Avila.
Yeah. He's been good as a pass rusher, and then they have Puka, which is the sensation of the NFL for the rookies, playing great. He essentially, for me, is very similar to what number 10 does for them. I'm blanking his name too.
Cooper
Kupp, yeah. So he does a lot of what Cooper Kupp does. Cooper Kupp is supposed to be back soon. I don't know if he's going to be back for this game.
Oh yeah, Cooper Kupp back.
Okay.
Yeah. He's been off my IR for a minute on my fantasy football team.
So it'll be interesting. We'll see. Obviously, this is for the Steelers. Starts with the defense. So how do you think this defense is going to attack the offense? Is the idea to pressure Matt Stafford? Because when he gets pressure, he likes to throw that pig. What do you think they're going to do? And then on offense against this pass rush and Rams defense?
Yeah, coming off the bye week, you are appreciative of the ability to, game plan for, Sean McVay, who I believe is one of the top 3 play callers in the game. And then you talk about Stafford, borderline Hall of Fame quarterback, a guy who can make all the throws, off platform, sidearm, the contorted throws, the deep ball. So this is a guy that you talked about how you can beat him, and that's basically getting pressure on him. In terms of their offensive line going against our defensive line, I think the Steelers would have an advantage immediately, just because of the Kyron Williams injury and then the Ronnie Rivers injury. Kyron Williams at 111 yards after contact, on pace to have 1,000 before week 9, and then the backup Ronnie Rivers was averaging 4.4 yards per carry. So, in a McVay scheme, they window dress a lot. They run a lot of plays out the same formation. At a higher rate, more likely than anybody but the Niners and maybe Miami. So if they can't run the football, the tendencies are going to be, of course, the pass keys. Now, the thing about the NFL is just because you know what the offense is in, the defense still has to stop them. And Cooper Kupp, Pakunuka, Tutu Atwell, Higbee, Darrell Henderson Jr. just signed, Myles Gaskin, who got cut from Miami, or I believe signed on their practice squad. Those guys are going to play hard, but at the end of the day, I just don't see the Steelers defense, a team that's fresh, getting healthier. Only person not back is Cam Hayward. Had a bye week, and the last time they played against was the Ravens, a physical game. So really, if you look at the Steelers, physicality has been their MO, something that they've lacked on both sides of the football. And then in terms of the offense, I mean, can it get any worse? I mean, 32, 31, 29, in every major category in terms of 10, 3-and-out drives, a third down completion rate, I believe 7 red zone possessions, 7. I saw a stat last night. My guy Lewis, it was via Alex Kozor. The Saints had 21 possessions in the red zone last night. 21. The Steelers, I don't even think they had 15. So that's how bad the offense is. I don't think that can get any worse. The keys is getting Deontay Johnson back. Deontay Johnson, one of the better route separators. His MO has not been able to catch the football, but a great route separator, which will command, if not a double. You're not gonna be able to double George every play because he's a guy that wins early on this release. He has a lot of yak value. And then you look at the former 2 guys that I'm circling, Kevin Dotson and Ahkello Witherspoon. They're former Steelers. Ahkello Witherspoon, for whatever reason, he leads the National Football League in passer rating allowed. He's had basically a resurgence in his career, but this is a guy who historically hasn't been able to finish. Look at him at the Niners, look at him with Seattle, and then look at him with the Steelers. He has made plays at a lot of those places, but he's not a guy that I feel like you can't push the ball downfield. He's not a guy that I think will be able to limit George Pickens, who, I'm sorry, Sonny, he had his way against Marlon Humphrey. And I'm just bringing that up is because you know how fundamentally
he had a really good game. Yeah.
So you would hope to build on that. You would hope the offense to be better. Pat Freiermuth is hurt. He had a setback Thursday at practice, so he's not actually playing. But outside of that, man, the Steelers should be able to win this football game. You look at the Texans game, you look at the Niners game, those are teams that outcoached us. But at the end of the day, if you don't turn the football over versus the Rams, look at the Bengals game, you look at the Trey Hendrickson game, the Rams haven't showed me that they can minimize, like even versus the Niners, they can minimize elite pass rushers. And Alaric Jackson, Rob Havenstein, those are the guys the Steelers are going to be able to, I think, wreak havoc with. Alex Highsmith, he had 11 pressures the last time he played football, and that was versus the Ravens. So I'm looking at momentum. I respect the Rams. I think they've overachieved. They're 3-3. They've overachieved. A lot of people didn't give them a shot to, maybe win 3 games, but McVay coaching matters. So it's a 4:00 game. I got to wait all Sunday. But like I said, we got a lot of good matchups prior to us playing.
Yeah, I would say this is, if you're gonna go West Coast, there's no better time after a bye. And also, right, Matt Canada has no excuse. He has 2 weeks to prepare to the one team, whatever scheme he wanted. He had 2 weeks to prepare for the McVay Rams defense, right? So I agree with a lot of what you're saying, and also I will add to, they cannot get any worse. But if they don't seem better after basically 2 weeks of preparation for the Rams, I'm not saying fire Matt Canada, because at this point I don't think he gets fired, even if he stays like that all the way to the end of the year. But if it doesn't get better in this week, then it ain't gonna get better. Like if there's any week to get better, if after a bye that you had extra preparation. Q, saying that, what do you think about this matchup?
I will say this though, it can get worse offensively, and not that it's going to get worse because like the offensive output's going to be worse, but if the defense starts to just give up on the offense, which happens a lot with teams with bad offense, and then that starts to affect how the defense plays, that can really be an effect on the entire team, because then all of a sudden the defense is not doing what they are supposed to do, and then these games just aren't going to be as close as they should. So I don't think it gets to that point in Pittsburgh, because usually Tomlin's really good about making sure it doesn't get there. But I mean, like, I would be lying if I said like the signs weren't. I would be lying if I wasn't saying like the recipe wasn't there to be made of it. But the thing that's interesting to me is, what do I always make fun of not Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins plus Matthew Stafford. What do I always make fun of premium Kirk Cousins for? He will give you 2 or 3.
Yeah,
he will give you 2 or 3. You just got to catch it. And the one thing you have to get not the one thing, but one of the things you have to give the Steelers defense credit for is they are opportunists, which means if you give them an opportunity to get a turnover, they will get it. And the one thing that this Rams team has been is turnover heavy. Right? Like, they love to give you options to get this ball. And I think that that's going to play a heavy factor in this game. This is not a great offense. I think the Rams have Matt Stafford's up and down. I think when you say a quarterback's up and down, you can look at defensive lines and you'll see up and down play along the defensive lines, right? And I think that that's where that's going to be really a factor. The Steelers' ability to get pressure is really going to affect Matt Stafford. And I think you're going to get a turnover heavy game from him. And I think the Steelers will be able to capitalize and somehow find a way to get to 4-2.
Yeah, Ace?
Yeah, for me, I think this is going to be a good game. I think both teams are really good. And when I say that, I think that they match up very well against each other. I think the Rams are a better team than people have given them credit for. And now you add Cooper Kupp to the mix. That gives them, their main threat there. Then you got him and Puka, which creates a dynamic duo there. However, on the Steelers side of things, I heard about TJ Watt with the heel. He's going to be in this game. So I think that that's huge, because if TJ Watt wasn't playing in this game, it would definitely affect, what my thoughts were in terms of who comes out of this one with a win. The thing that I can't go against, even though as much as I would like to pick the Rams and stuff like that, they're not really at home. I've been at the Rams Stadium in the Super Bowl. Nobody shows up to Rams games. It's gonna be a home game for Pittsburgh. It's gonna be a home game for Pittsburgh. So let's just start there, right? And then the other
it'd be more Raider fans at Rams games than it be. Even when the Raiders don't play anybody at the game, you'll be at Steelers, Rams, and there will be more Raider fans than Rams fans, because there are more bored Raider fans in LA than there are people who actually cheer for the Rams.
For sure. But Jackson, I saw him up close and personal. So like Guru is saying, man, like he's food for the most part. I haven't seen him in the week since Trey Hendrickson, but he was definitely food when Trey Hendrickson was there. You got Highsmith. You also have TJ on the other side. And then the thing is, we talk about Joey Porter Jr. I don't know if we've talked about it much on this show, but he's been playing pretty solid. So them doing some things there, that's going to be a major key, because Puka and Cooper Kupp are obviously going to be some guys that you want to slow down. He's going to be instrumental in doing that. However, I just can't go against Tomlin, bro. The bye week record coming off of a bye, he's 12-4 since 2007. I am not going to bet against Mike Tomlin, man. And I think that this will be a good game. And one thing, like Q just said, I am not a Matthew Stafford believer. He is going to turn the ball over. That is what this Pittsburgh defense thrives off of, and they'll be able to do some things. And then the other thing is, the Rams don't have Kyron Williams, and if you're not following the Rams as closely, that is a huge blow for them, because Kyron Williams is the run game. He's a really good running back for them. Was one of the leading rushers in the NFL at one point. So I think with them not having him, that's going to play into the Steelers' hands. It played into our hands because even with Kyron Williams, for some reason, Sean McVay just decided to stop running the ball. And if he does that against the Steelers, that's going to give them more opportunities to create those turnovers. That's going to give them more opportunities for sacks and stuff to pile up. So for me, I'm going to take the Steelers in this one because I like what they have to offer from a defensive perspective, but I think that they also have an offense that can capitalize and do enough with the receivers that they have, especially with Deontay Johnson being back. Now we'll see, because it's been like 1,000 days.
I'm about to say it is a bold thing to suggest that is going to be what fixes your red zone offense. I get what you're saying. The attention that he's going to get is going to try to help you fix it.
A red zone offense is a Keller Witherspoon.
And for me, it's more so about Pickens, right? Because Pickens is obviously, I said this going into the season. I think Pickens is wide receiver 1 there. Deontay is gonna open them up. We'll see if Deontay can get that touchdown. I'm not gonna go that far now. I'm not gonna say Deontay.
What will be the odds? I think it should be a good payout, right?
Bro, it has been like 1,000 days.
That's what I'm saying.
It's been what, like I've made like a move since the last time he scored a touchdown.
The last time he scored might have been versus the Ravens.
It was a while ago, bro.
It might have been. It was it scoring that Monday Night Football game, the Ben retirement one.
I'm gonna still take the Steelers here.
By what, 3?
I do think this is a very close game. I think
what's the line on this?
Last possession. This is gonna be a last possession, and either Matthew Stafford is gonna throw a pick, and the Steelers are gonna win it that way. Or somehow they get some kind of like field goal or something. I don't even know who the Rams kicker is, but I like the Steelers in this one. I think.
Hey, if this game is a 1-possession game, like a field goal game with like 5 minutes left, it might turn into hot potato. Like
so right now the line you were asking is Rams -3.
Rams -3.
Yeah, a lot of people are picking the Rams, which I understand that the Rams are an underrated team. They are a good team. I think that they've done
they're just so inconsistent, and you're playing an out of division opponent. I don't know. That's usually. I think
it's just because people saw them be scrappy with the Eagles. I think it's because
everybody been scrappy with the Eagles, though. The Commanders were scrappy with the Eagles. Maybe the Eagles just aren't playing that well right now. Like
they were scrappy with the Niners, but it is a division game. They beat the Seahawks. Nobody expected that. I don't know if I'm fully on board, but now that they have Cooper Kupp, that might make them better. But I still got the Steelers in this one.
I feel like Cooper's been back for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's been back for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He still hasn't had that game though, where it's like this is the Cooper Kupp game. I haven't seen that yet.
So
how old is he though? He's like 28 now.
About that 28. Yeah, that's also all right because he came in the league. I think
he's not looking like Crown Cup. I know that.
He's my age because he was in college when I was in college. I think my school played his school in the playoffs before. So yeah, he's getting up there.
So saying all that, I agree with a lot of the points. I think the Steelers for me basically can they put this pass rush in this game, right? Which they usually do. If they can. Stafford throws picks without a pass rush in his face, right? So with the pass rush, as he was saying, if you're really ready to catch it, they will be there. The other thing is, as their main running back for the Rams is not there, don't let the backup run on you. And the Steelers sometimes struggle against the running back. Don't let the backup run on you because that's the only way I can see. I actually think the Steelers win by about a touchdown, not necessarily because they're going to score a lot of points. It's going to prevent a lot of points being scored. That defense is going to show up. Yes.
And my whole point about like, okay, it can get worse on offense. The one area it can get worse for the Steelers, if you do get to the red zone, you start turning it over in the red zone because when you start doing that, dog, the defense stop caring, right? Like that's more or less like when you get them red zone turn, and that's the thing about the Rams is that when they turn it over, they turn it over.
I misspoke on that. 7 catches for 148 yards and a touchdown last game. Yeah, he back.
I'm about to say
he back.
Who was he playing against?
That was against the Cardinals. Against the Eagles, he had 8 for 118.
Damn.
Yeah, all the way back.
Cup might be back. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Cooper Kupp. It's gonna be tough. And I was gonna say too,
Puka was a fun story.
This is something underrated. Presley Harvin is back. Our punter. Before his injury, he was leading the National Football League in hang time and field position. So when you're going against somebody like Matthew Stafford that sometimes has arm arrogance, thinks he can make every throw, that just fits an opportunistic defense like the Steelers. And
maybe possession.
And maybe this is the Minkah game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm still waiting on Minkah Fitzpatrick to show up. And when I say show up, I mean make his presence known. Could be a big hit. Unfortunately, he's been on the other end. Jimmy G, personal foul, and then he got a tough holding call in the end zone versus the Texans. So look out for Percy Harvin, man. That's a big weapon for the Steelers coming back off of an injury.
I feel like he get injured a lot for a punter.
Yeah, he does. But have you seen him?
Yeah, he's good. Like he killed him.
Saying like
he's a bigger build.
Yeah,
well, like you would think somebody that big would be hard to hurt when he just punting, right? Like he got soft tissue issues or something. Like
that Janikowski build.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Okay, so people here says
don't nobody do that.
Second favorite division team. I can tell you what mine is none. I root for the Ravens, and I hope y'all are not happy on the stream because y'all lost. That's what I root.
What are we doing here, people?
Mine is a practice squad.
I'm not one of those Browns fans. It's like, well, if we can't win it, I hope the Bengals win it for Ohio.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't ever win that. No, there you go. Never shut up.
People is one of them dudes where it's like when it's the last AFC North team in the playoffs.
This is not college football. I am not AFC North. My conference.
I'm not.
I was in a cruise one, and a guy saw me in my jersey. He's like, "Oh, you're a Ravens fan?" I'm like, I'm wearing the jersey, right? And he's like, "Oh, I always like the jersey. I'm sorry, not the jersey, the Ravens. They're not my team, but I root for them when my team is not in it." I'm like, "So who's your team?" The Steelers. I'm like, "What?"
Nah, you can't trust him, man.
Trust him.
Can't trust him. That's crazy.
Okay, so Mark here says Stafford with 2 wide receiver ones might be worse. He's gonna hold on to the ball too long trying to decide who to force feed.
No, this is Matthew Stafford we talking about. What you mean? He gonna hold on to that ball and be like, F it. You know what he about to do. He did it to Puka. Like, he just gonna throw it to the number 1 dude because it's been his whole career. Literally, go look at Matthew Stafford's whole career. It's force feed and Megatron. Then he lost Megatron, and we ain't hear about Matt Stafford for a while. Yep. And then he came back with what's his name? And if he was still in Detroit, he would be throwing that thing to Amon-Ra St. Brown right now, Jared Goff is.
Yep. So Dustin here says, you guys have thoughts on the Warren Sharp report? I don't know what he's talking about.
I know what he's talking about because he DM'd it to me, and he's talking about like the downward trend of offense right now. It looks like it's like the lowest total since like 2011. He's just kind of talking about how bad it's just kind of been.
It's gonna bounce back up.
Yeah, you're talking about 61.5% have gone under, like offenses highest is 91.
Yeah,
I saw that. I mean, listen, it's week 6. I think that, in my opinion, that the biggest obvious thing is that defense matters. The defense has improved at various metrics in terms of getting off the field. Red zone defense, those numbers I assume would be better as well.
He also said the sack rate is better. Sack rate is 7.2, which is the highest since 2000.
Yeah. I think it's a number of things, right? I think you have a couple of really, like a lot of really good defenses that are really like hitting their stride in New York. The Cleveland Browns. You also have Pittsburgh that's been out there for a while. You have some decent defenses right now, and you have a lot of offenses that are trying to like figure it out. The Eagles have been slow coming out the gate. I think the Chiefs have been slow coming out the gate. I think the only offense that's really been hot right out the gate has been Miami, and maybe you can make the argument for Buffalo. I mean, it's going to bounce back to what it is. Last year also was like such an outlier year where no team had anybody under 200 yards a game in total offense. No defense was able to do that. So this year's probably a bit of a statistical correction where you're going to have more than average teams like be under 300 yards total defense. I mean, total offense. So I think it's just going to be a little bit of a correction from some trends in the past. We had such an explosion over the last few years that, it was going to be trending downward sometime soon.
I want to know if more people are running a 2 high shell, because I know that started to become trendy last season. And
you're in the transition, right? Because you had the middle of the Shanahan explosion where everybody was running play action boots, wide zone, all that stuff. Well, now that's changed. You see, even Shanahan don't run wide zone anymore. He man blocks. So you're seeing that transition happen right now. Some teams have figured it out. Some teams have not. And then I think by like week 12, most teams will have figured out the new transition.
I'm not gonna say that it'll completely change, but
yeah,
it's still
it'll get back to the average. Like the Browns aren't gonna hold teams under 200 yards a game. You also have to think like the Steelers have been like, there have been a couple of historically bad offenses this year, and then there's been a couple of really, really good defenses. So like that's messing with the numbers as well.
The question, being a trenches guy, here's my brand. In the past couple of drafts, we have seen a resurgence. Like I haven't remember, at least in the last 3 drafts, of D tackles and D linemen being like, we talk about Georgia, but not only Georgia.
Right, Sonny? It's been more D tackles, more defensive ends, more premium guys going into there, and then less offensive linemen coming into the league at a high level, and less offensive linemen even able to play early for whatever reason.
Yes, linemen stuck now. Offensive linemen stuck now. That's like unless you have a Panay Sewell or somebody that is straight up, you don't know what you get.
Yeah, so it's just, I think it's a combination of that too, Sonny. It's a good point that along the lines of scrimmage, it's been leaning a different way too, where a lot of talented guys, and I think that has to do with where money goes, right? Guards get paid less than a D tackle that's a star. Tackles get paid less than an edge rusher that's a star. So if you're a great athlete, you're going to be pushed to edge, to defensive tackle, which takes away those athletes from those positions. And now you live in a world where you got guys flying to the football like Myles Garrett, and like literally nobody is athletic enough to keep up with that on the other side, because it's just, you don't have, guys like Joe Thomas and everything else anymore. It's just not that quality of talent. Exactly. The best tackle in football is Trent Williams. Like, he's not young. You know what I mean? Like, that tells you exactly what's going on. It's kind of like with quarterback about 10 years ago, where the best quarterbacks were old. Right. Because like for like 10 years, we couldn't draft a good quarterback consistently. From like 2000 to Ben draft, 2004 to like 2017, whenever Mahomes went, that era, there was just no consistent quarterbacks just getting entered into the league. You're seeing that now happen with offensive linemen.
Yep. The regular dude here says, now Ace, you see, we want post-game reactions on Wednesday. What y'all do Can you read
what y'all gonna do? What y'all gonna do though? And why don't you go live anymore?
No more.
I think we're looking into going with the post game reactions. In terms of going live, bro, like my channel is going in a completely different direction.
Yeah, it's hard. Okay, Colton here says hasn't had that game. Please look at his. I'm assuming he's talking about Cooper
Kupp. Hey, look, Cooper Kupp in 2 games has like out produced
all the Ravens receiving,
half of the Ravens receiving room, like, combined.
I knew where that was coming. So, I want every other team in the AFC North. This is from Ray-Rack. Any other team in the AFC North to find a way to go 0-17. Don't care if it is.
No, don't want you to go 0-17. No, that's the trick. No. Don't go 0-17. Get Caleb Williams and be good again. Exactly. No. Exactly. I want you to go 6-11.
Mid. You want
7-9. Like, that's what you want. 7-10. That's what you want. You want them like 13th picks in the draft. Exactly. You want them taking like Kenny Pickett 20th overall.
Early in the season, you know how the Bengals started slow, right?
Have you beat Kenny Pickett yet?
Huh?
Yeah.
Have you beat Kenny Pickett yet?
Yeah, I think we have. beat. We only played twice, right? We'll beat them. We'll beat them the next time we play in Cleveland. I'm pretty sure. I am pretty sure that's happening.
But what I was saying, somebody asked me when Cincinnati started slow and Burrow was kind of hurt, right? Somebody asked me, "Oh, do you think Cincinnati is gonna have one of the worst records this year?"
If he's starting by that,
right? And this is like by week 3 or 4. I said, like, I don't want that. Can you imagine if these guys go from T. Higgins to Marvin Harrison now? Nah. Don't want that. If they're gonna suck, make them go 9-8. And then
Yo, Jamar Chase is gonna be pissed because Marvin Harrison gonna walk in there. He's like, why they call all the plays for him? Like, what happened to my plays?
Yes, sir. Okay, Noah Stone here says Ravens should trade for Chase or Sweat, not Judy.
Why does anybody want to trade for Jerry Jeudy?
I don't know. I agree with what Steve Smith said. Look, I was high on Jerry Jeudy coming out of that draft, right? I thought that he was going to be better. He's been more injured, but he drops the ball a lot, which I was surprised. Like his drop rate is high. The Ravens, I don't think the Ravens will invest any more capital on receivers unless they get a bunch of injuries on receiver. It's more likely they go on the
pass. I'm good with them going and getting Jeudy. Go ahead, man.
I'm about to say, you going to trade for a faster version of Rashad Bateman? Like,
I think
you already have Devin Duvernay.
But I think it's way more likely for us to trade for outside rusher.
To pair with Clowney.
To play with whoever, right? Whoever. Okay, Chase. Ace, can you talk to us about our sponsor?
Yes, sir. Season's greetings. More like season's compliments because the compliments are guaranteed after making a leap to skincare with Caldera Lab. And I'm talking about how you look today and 20 years from now. The results are incredible in little time. Men's skincare with Caldera Lab are the perfect pair for you to look great and feel your best. Super easy to add to your morning routine. Clear skin, less wrinkles, and less signs of aging. Enough said. Caldera Lab Skincare. Join with the other 100,000 men who trust Caldera Lab and show your best first impression this fall. Having a sexy routine and habits is the new big thing. And what if we told you it took less than a minute to add? Caldera Lab wants you to accomplish this big time in little time. Caldera Lab creates high-performance men's skincare products, and the regimen leads off their product lineup, a twice-a-day routine to transform your skin. Caldera Labs knows that the skincare world is heavily female-driven and has long been in the wild, wild west for men. And that's why they're making this solution simple. The regimen includes 3 products: the Clean Slate, Base Layer, and the Good. The Clean Slate starts and ends your day. The face wash leaves your skin on tight to refresh. The Base Layer is your daily moisturizer to hydrate your skin and jumpstart your day full of confidence. And the Good is your go-to multifunctional serum at night that helps your skin look tighter and smoother, as well as helps reduce the visibility of wrinkles and fine lines. Every drop of the serum is packed with 3.4 million antioxidants of units protecting your skin. Around the Caldera Lab Icon Eye Serum, it addresses the 3 most common concerns around the eye: fine lines, dark circles, and puffiness. Caldera Lab is the leader in men's skincare, made only with top-tier ingredients, and clinical trials have found that 94% of men's skin showed an overall younger-looking appearance after using Caldera Lab for a few weeks. 1 minute in the morning is all that it takes to reduce your wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. And just for our audience, we have an exclusive deal. You're not beating this offer. Use our code AFC North Talk at calderalab.com for 20% off right now. Get 20% off again with that code AFC North Talk at calderalab.com to make an unforgettable first impression with the best gift this holiday season. Once again, that's 20% off at calderalab.com with the code AFC North Talk.
Okay, big shout out to Adam Holland, W. Sulu, Luis Cousin, Leo Siller, Ray Rack, Wesley World, Christian Rod. Thank you for being the top tier Patreon. Make sure you check our Patreon. If you want to help us and support us a little bit more, check the Patreon. Thanks for everybody that has subscribed to Patreon. Okay, here Noah Stone says Adams is mad. Ravens need to get him. Go all out. And
y'all do this yourselves every year, man. Y'all not
exactly.
doing it.
I don't think we're gonna do it, but
y'all Photoshop team is undefeated though. Every year I see a Ravens Photoshop. They get them jerseys out. They like, oh, we about to go get them. Rumors is we about to go get them. He end up signing Sammy Watkins again.
By the way, just in case, Guru, 76% of the viewers think the Rams are gonna win. So we are all for the Ravens.
That is nuts. That is absolutely nuts.
You guys are ultra positive. I can't wait to see you Tuesday.
Yeah,
That is nuts. 76%
of the audience.
How are we this audience? I know. It's the Steelers. Y'all hate the Steelers. I get it. But how are we this confident in Matt Stafford?
I don't know. We all picked the Steelers here. But yeah, the audience 76%. Okay, let's move on to the Browns game. Browns coming from the bye, refresh, ready to play. I know Watson was throwing Q. I don't know if he's playing. I saw he was.
So the situation with him is he practiced on Thursday, came back again today, full practice today. What they're going to do is they're going to wait 48 hours. If they get the green light, he feels okay. He feels fine. No tightness, no weird feeling in his thing. All right. He's good to go. He'll play. Is what the sense is. So as long as everything acts like it should, he should play on Sunday. Is the feeling.
Okay. And on the other side, you get Gardner Minshew. And this is a very critical game, in my opinion, for the Colts, because this is essentially where Minshew play against us, right? But then they had the rookie come back after our game, and then the rookie got injured for what I think they're thinking is us for the rest of the year. It's the last thing I heard. So why I say it's critical is because this.
No, yeah, he just did surgery. He's out for the year.
Okay. So this game is critical in my opinion because now Minshew is the guy going forward against a really good defense. His performance will determine if this team, you're really gonna see them, in my opinion, fight, or if they think this team is can it be a seller and basically go back to the drawing board next year with their quarterback already. They know who their quarterback is for next year. Interesting game. I think in the case of the Colts, that D-line is pretty good. That D-line is pretty good. Secondary, they have their issues, but that D-line is really good. Can they, in my opinion, can the O-line hold this D-line? And if it's Watson there, can Watson then have a game similar to what he had against the Titans, right? Don't do too much. Take what is given there. Don't do the turnover because your defense on the other side, this offense for the Colts, it's not going to be great. It's okay. Now, Taylor's back, right? We know Taylor's back. Their running attack is good. So they need to key on that running attack. They need to make sure they suffocate that running attack, no a lot of yardage, make them one-dimensional. And then I think if all that happens, it should be a W. By the way, this line is -3.5 the Browns. Even the Browns are on the road. So saying that, I think the Browns win. I'm very confident with the Browns win. They're battle tested. Even if Watts is not there, they did it already. They're battle tested against a way better team. It is a road game in the NFL. Any given week, this is a game for the Browns that is more important than the Niners game. Like the Niners game feels better because it was one of the teams that is a Super Bowl caliber team. The Colts is an AFC team, so it could factor for tiebreakers later on. I think the Browns win. I think they're gonna dominate the trenches, and I think they can hold this running attack for the Colts to sub 100, right? And that's what I think. Q, what do you think?
I actually wouldn't be surprised if this was an off game for the Cleveland Browns a little bit on the defensive side, because one thing that's kind of flown under the radar, this first game they're going to be playing, I believe, on artificial turf all year and indoors, right? Mm-hmm. And when you watch this Browns defense, a lot of the chaos they create, it's beneficial for them to be on natural grass on that chaos because it makes guys slip. You're playing man, so you're bumping guys a lot, so they slip out of their timing, and you can just force more of those errors. The friction isn't as much as it is when you're indoors on that turf where it's harder to slip and fall. So that might be something that can be helpful to the Colts. I also think that the Browns rely a little bit too much on their back end when they should. Like, I think the formula should be send 5, drop the rest. Sometimes they're sending 6, leaving 4. You know what I mean? Or leaving. It's just, I don't like the math going on there or how much you're leaning on that secondary. I think that they should lean the other way. Also, Greg Newsome is questionable for this game as well. We don't know if he's going to play. He has not practiced all week. So there's a number of things going into it. Also, it's just kind of the reverse of what you just went through, right? You just got a big national win. Everybody's giving you the flowers, telling you how great you are. You know, it's natural that there would be a little bit of a letdown when you're playing the Colts in a game that nobody's really watching, and everybody assumes that you're going to win based off of your performance last week. So I really wouldn't be surprised if the Browns had a little bit of an off game here defensively, but I think the Browns are going to be due up regardless of who plays at quarterback for a much better game than they've had the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks that they've been out there, right? I think the screen game, if you watch that San Francisco game, the Browns were like this close on like 4 or 5 screens of breaking them big. But every time there was a penalty, a legal man downfield, Wyatt Teller held on a release. Like he wasn't even downfield. He held on a release on a screen that ended up being a touchdown. So he just wiped it out for no reason. You know, there's all these little things in the screen game that just haven't been going right that can be easily cleaned up. And I think it's finally going to hit this week. Also, you know, with Watson, can he be patient? That's the question that we're asking. Well, this is a very similar game and similar team that he's playing this week to the Tennessee Titans, right? A secondary that's kind of iffy, but a defensive line that's really good, and a game plan that's going to force you to kind of make dink and dunk small completions, right? Play out a stick, get into empty, make some small completions, get guys out of Tennessee, and then try to shoot it downfield. It's the same exact kind of game plan style of football that you played against Tennessee. So there should be some level of comfort, whether Watson's in there or PJ Walker. And if PJ Walker's in there, that's the kind of football he likes to play anyways. So I think that offensively, they're going to be set up. I really would not be surprised if this is a game that, what's the over under, like 45? It's got to be like a 45 or something like that.
What's the over under for this thing? I'll let you know. So hold on.
Yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised at the overhit on this. I think that there's a combination for a little bit of a defensive letdown for the Cleveland Browns this week, but an offensive hold up. And I think the offense is going to be the main thing that kind of carries them through the victory this week versus the Colts. So I do think the Browns are going to win, but I think how they get there is going to look a little different than
41.
Yeah, I think they're going to hit the over. I think both teams are going to get over 20. So yeah, I think they're going to hit the over. I think they're going to give up a little bit more points than people expect. You know, the Colts just look too bad. Like, this happens with division games where a bad day in the division can compound so fast into an awful game in the division because, like, they're so familiar with you that if you're having a bad day, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And they just had that kind of a day versus Jacksonville. So I don't think that's really representative of who they are. I think the record represents them a little bit better. I think they're going to show up, and Gardner's going to have his one weird, decent game where everybody's going to overrate him for like the next 4 years because he had it.
Ace, what do you think about this game?
It's a trap. It's a trap game, man.
Oh,
it's
okay.
A trap game.
I know you ain't. I know.
It's a trap game. Nah, I mean, the Colts are going to play the Browns tough in this one because the Colts are a pretty decent team. But I still think that the Browns are going to come out of this one with a victory, but I do think it'll be close. Gardner Minshew, I don't think he's amazing. I think he's a solid quarterback. I think the most underrated part about the Colts, though, is kind of their defensive line. And I guess you would probably say their front seven. So the defensive line and their linebackers, right? Mm-hmm. We all know about Shaq Leonard and stuff like that. Some of the names outside of DeForest Buckner kind of go under the radar. So I think that they'll be feisty in this one. However, you know, I think the Browns will take care of business, especially with Watson. If Watson wasn't playing in this one, I would probably lean either way. But I think that the Browns are going to come out of this one with a victory. But I think it does seem like it could be a trap game. I will say that, because if you're looking at the Colts, you're just going to be like, oh, the Colts are mid. We're just going to go in and stop all over them.
They lost Anthony Richardson this week, so you know they ain't feeling good. Yeah, man, when the news is that bad for a team, I'm always like, nah, go the other way, because it usually goes that way. Remember that week where the Chiefs were like, basically insinuated that the Jets had no passing attack, and that was the best game that Zach Wilson ever played in his life. Mm-hmm. Look, whenever it looks like it's going to be an absolute disaster, is usually when it's not.
It never is. So, and then you got Gardner Minshew right now having the opportunity to try to put some tape out there. He's going to try to play his best because he's looking for a job next season. But I got the Browns in this one. I still think the Browns end up taking it.
Guru.
Yeah, this game's interesting. The Colts went into Baltimore, beat the Ravens, and that was with a lot of self-imposed issues that Lamar had. They forced a fumble. This Colts team is a team that you cannot look at the record. You have to watch their season. They play very hard. They've lacked at times mental errors, and they've lacked a talent issue. But they're young players like Julius Brents. He's made advantageous plays. They're getting better. The pass rush looks like it's starting to get in sync. Guys are establishing their roles. DeForest Buckner is still DeForest Buckner. I don't see a drop off there at any rate. And then on offense, Jonathan Taylor's back. We talked about Cooper Kupp. This is a guy who is a top 3 running back, and we understand he was hurt. We understand that he was on a snap count. But that's how the Ravens lost that football game, because they couldn't tackle Zach Moss. The Browns still have not showed me specifically that their strength of the defense is stopping the run. I think the strength of the defense is schematic based, deploying pressure in the secondary. Now, if you interest me and say that Greg Newsome isn't playing, well, Michael Pittman Jr., Alex Pierce, those guys are guys who literally can wreck the game just because of their size and their athleticism. So I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I like the Colts, and the reason why I like the Colts is because I have not seen the Cleveland Browns in the Kevin Stefanski era show me after a big win that they're the same team. It's either a significant drop off. It's a team that I think right now the Niners, it took a lot out of them, and it wasn't just Deshaun. I thought PJ Walker played decent. He didn't crash the game. Deshaun Watson has a tendency of crashing the game. How many turnovers, how many fumbles will he have coming back against a defense who I think in Gus Bradley is just underrated, man. They got athletes. Zaire Franklin, that name, circle that name. He's replaced Bobby O'Kickeray from the Giants, and I think he's top 5 in tackles right now. So I'm being completely honest with you, man. I like the Colts. I think they're gonna be able to run the football. I think if Greg Newsome doesn't play, look out, because you'll see a lot of play action, and that's just not the recipe right now for the Browns. Stopping a run at this rate. If Jonathan Taylor gets 20 carries, what does that look like?
Well, right now he's been at 3.3 yards per carry the 2 games he's been back, so it hasn't been great for him. We'll see what happens. I do think that they can run the ball this week, because the Browns have had – there have been teams that have been able to have a couple drives of success running up the middle on them, and I think Quentin Nelson and Shane Steichen can do some of that stuff that Baltimore was able to do. But I will point out the Browns have won a big game after winning a big game before in the Kevin Stefanski era, and I believe you would know which game I'm referring to.
Playoff game.
Yeah, we had to win one to get in, and then we had to win one to keep going. I'm just saying, it's 2 back-to-back.
It's week 6, and that's a playoff game.
Yeah.
That's your only
I remember, oh, man, y'all was hilarious. Y'all only beat our backups by 2.
This.
28-0 in the first quarter. We showed up. That was one time, but you could make the argument Kevin wasn't technically there on the sideline.
Oh, that's right. That's what Tony always says.
With a face mask on. Come on, brother.
I'm just saying, hey, look, he was so locked in that he had his minions go in there and they handled the business. It was like when you tell somebody to handle your light work and it just worked for him that day. But that's another story for another day. What's Ben's record versus the Browns in the playoffs? He's winless. That's great.
How many players has Ben having his career compared to the Cleveland Browns?
See, look, we're not talking about that. We talking about other things.
When I know I had that one, brother.
Oh yeah. They got all them numbers except when it matter. You know what I mean? At home. Oh man, at home.
How many people watched that game?
Made Ben have to play a whole nother season because of that game, dog. Like that really did make Ben play 2021. I know it did because he cried both times he beat the Browns that year.
Okay. Let me see something here. We have the fan base here. 75% Browns, which is in theory is what we are. We're 3 out of the 4 here. Say Browns. Guru's the only one going for the Colts. Guru, I hope you're right, by the way. Saying that, the matchup, I'm not calling the matchup of the week, but of all our teams, obviously people are saying that the Ravens playing not so scrappy anymore. They're actually good now, right? We're not talking about no scrappy Lions. We're talking about a Lions team that is actually good. One of the top offenses in the league. But on the other side, people talk about their offense. On the other side, they're not bad. They're not saying, there's teams that are, we look at them on one side, they're very heavy on their offense or very heavy on their defense, but the other side is not that good. Their offense is excellent and their defense is good. Well, I'm not calling them top 5, but they're definitely good. Hutchinson, I still am scratching my head why the Jaguars didn't draft him and went with Walker. Whatever. He's good. I like him a lot. This team and the Lions, it's definitely gonna be an interesting match. Before I give my take, Q, I would like to hear yours. I would like to see what do you think is gonna happen between the Ravens and the Lions.
So Ravens and Lions, the scrappy Lions in Baltimore. Look, I think we're doing for Jared Goff come back to earth game. I think it's due. I've heard people talk about Jared Goff as one of the best 3 quarterbacks in the NFC.
Ooh.
And that's when I know that
it's time
burst. Okay. Like sometimes you get these bubbles that blow up and they keep blowing up. Like the Brock Purdy bubble. People were talking about him being in the MVP candidacy and everything else. I was like, well, a bubble's got to burst, right? This Jared Goff bubble is the next one. Like this is about to burst. He's about to throw a couple interceptions and look bad. I actually think the Ravens are going to win this one by a couple scores pretty comfortably.
Nice. Okay. Ace, what is your thoughts about this game?
This is going to be a good game this week. I do believe that this is 2 teams that are kind of at the top of their conferences as it stands right now. I think that Detroit is a really good team. I was one of the people that didn't believe some of the preseason hype of Detroit because I heard the ankle biting. I saw what people were talking about last season. A lot of people were like, oh, well, they were a good team last year. They didn't make the playoffs, but they still kept the Packers out of the playoffs, and that's going to, go into this season. And honestly, I didn't believe it because, like you said, it's Jared Goff. I was like, dog, I don't believe this with Jared Goff. But when you look at what this team has done, when you look at the offensive coordinator, when you look at the weapons that they have, when you look at the defense that's playing way better than it was last season, when you look at a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, when you look at what they've put together here, you have to be impressed with what Detroit has done. And when you look at the resume of games that they've kind of played with the opponents, I would say that they are a pretty good team. The Ravens, on the other hand, I think that they've been a pretty good team as well. But the thing is, we saw week 1, we saw the Lions go out there and beat the Chiefs in a big game with a lot of stuff on the line. Now, Travis Kelce wasn't in the game. A lot of receivers for the Chiefs ended up dropping passes. But the biggest thing for that, for me, was that they were able to go into Arrowhead in that environment on ring night with all of those expectations and come out with a victory. The other thing is this. Jahmyr Gibbs is possibly going to be a big feature in this game because I know that they've got the running back out with some potential issues with Montgomery. Jahmyr Gibbs is a really good running back. I don't think we've gotten to see the fully explosiveness of Jahmyr Gibbs that he has to offer for the NFL. And I don't think the Ravens want to be the team to find that out this week. However, on the other side as well, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You also have Jameson Williams back now, who came back, I believe, last game, had a touchdown. This is going to be a game where Baltimore's offense is going to have to return fire against the Detroit Lions in a shootout. I think this is going to be a shootout. I know we're used to seeing this be a defensive game, but Q, when you talked about teams earlier that are scoring points in the NFL, You're right. We're not talking about the Chiefs. We're not talking about the Eagles. You know who one of those teams are?
Lions.
The bubble is bursting.
The Lions.
The bubble. This is not gonna last.
So
Jared Goff.
I just don't know. Q.
Don't stop it. Stop it.
I don't know if I can deny the Lions anymore, man. I denied them for a long time. But I think the key for Baltimore is that you're gonna have to score. You're going to have to try to get Jared Goff to have one of those bad Jared Goff games. But I think this will be a close game. But I'm gonna go with the D, man. My wife's from the D. I think Detroit is 5-1 right now. I think they're legit. I didn't believe in them. I started to believe in them the past couple of weeks with what they've been able to put together. I don't think that they're ankle biters anymore. I think that they are a legit threat in the NFC over there. I think that they technically are a legit threat. I'm going to take the Detroit Lions in this one over the Ravens just because I trust their offense more than the Ravens.
Okay.
I get it because they're better. Like if you just look at everybody on the roster, they are a better offense than Baltimore. But if we factor in who plays quarterback,
that offensive line, don't sleep on that offensive line, bro. They got
I understand. Look, if you put Lamar Jackson on that team, I would have believed everything you said. Absolutely. But it's Jared Goff.
Bro, hold on.
Matters.
I'm not a PFF merchant, but tell me who the number one quarterback in PFF is right now.
That makes me think he's about to throw 3 interceptions more.
Bro, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, who's a rookie but is leading all tight ends in the NFL right now.
I think everybody you mentioned is good except for Jared Goff in there. Like we've been through this with Jared, where it's like, oh, Jared looked like he about to, you know what? He was the number 1 overall pick. He did have to, and then he does some that makes you. He's Matt Stafford. Like he's about the better he plays and the longer he plays, the more you're like.
I'm not a Jared Goff believer, and I went through this with Andy Dalton, but Hugh Jackson made Andy Dalton look like a competent quarterback, and I think that's what. That coordinator in Detroit, I forget what his name is. They talk about him all the time. But
look, man, you could coordinate your way past who they played last week. Baker Mayfield. Okay. Lamar Jackson is a different thing to coordinate your way past.
The Chiefs, bro, they beat the Chiefs.
But like it was no Travis Kelce. It was Chiefs light. Like they beat nah.
No Chris Jones either, by the way.
No Chris Jones as well. But like, yeah, I have the heart.
Okay. Who have the Ravens beat then? If you're taking away who the Lions have beat.
It's not who the Ravens have beat this year. It's like every piece of evidence that Jared Goff has like made some kind of a leap is wrapped up in what he's done this year. And
I don't think Jared Goff is
I have in Lamar Jackson is not wrapped up in 1 year. It's like I
don't think Jared Goff is even close to Lamar Jackson.
I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm saying there's such a gap that it matters. Like when you're going against Baker Mayfield, or you're playing against a different, like, no Travis Kelce version of the Chiefs offense, it might not matter that Jared Goff is your quarterback. But in a game like this, now again, if Lamar's wide receivers decide that they want to play volleyball this week and pat that thing up again, like, okay, yeah, Lamar might not win. Because again, Kenny Pickett got him, right? And I don't think anybody's about to make the argument that Kenny Pickett's better than Lamar. That's a division game. It's a little different, right? You just get those weird performances sometimes in division games. If his wide receivers are confident
in the Colts. Gardner Minshew. Is Gardner Minshew
again? That was a bad weather game. There was a lot of like rain. It was the hurricane game, right? Like there was a lot going on. This is in Baltimore. The weather should be decent this week.
70% completion percentage, 1,600 yards, 11.
Ace, let me add something here.
I know the numbers are good, Ace, but the thing is, like, I just know for a fact Jared Goff's not.
All Q is saying, to be honest, Q is saying he's playing great. He might be playing elite level, but
he's still saying, Jared Goff.
Exactly. Q's saying like he's coming to earth at some point, and Q is predicting this is the week.
This is what I'll say. doesn't Jared Goff still play good during the regular season?
So no, here's what I'm saying. Though. Here's what I'm saying.
Game. If this were a playoff game or a Super Bowl, I'm like, sure.
Here's what I'm saying. Here's why I'm saying like this week it will matter, because in the playoffs, what happens? The quality of opponent goes up. Usually you go from playing like, some mid quarterbacks against mid quarterbacks to you're playing an upper tier quarterback. But when you're playing one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, that guy has a decent game. It's going to matter that Jared Goff's back there. And when it matters that Jared Goff's back there is when you see the Jared Goff that we all know, right? It's easy to put up some of this stuff when, and again, he
got them buffs on right now. There. He got the buffs on right now.
Look, I get it.
On right now.
Yeah, and remember, Carco Chains didn't last long, did it? Right, like before we was like, oh, that's done. Right? Look, Kirk Cousins has 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and nobody cares right now because we know he's not serious. I'm just saying, Jared Goff is in that same category where it's like, come on, dog. We know he's not serious. He about to take this real unserious at some point here, and he's in the middle of his Kirko Chains run, and it's about to, I don't know. I just don't think that I think it matters at some point who he's going up against. And I think that Lamar.
Here's the thing, Q. You said Baker Mayfield. He didn't go up against Baker Mayfield though. He went up against the Todd Bowles vaunted defense and threw for 353 yards and 2 touchdowns against that.
Baker Mayfield had 2 interceptions.
Right, but he still threw for almost 400 yards against that.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying that he's not executing well. I'm not saying that they're not finding open lanes. I'm saying
I can't believe I'm defending Jared Goff. This is nasty. I'm gonna stop.
You gonna stop? You gonna stop? Jared Goff? You got the Jared Goff cape on.
I need to take a shower. I feel
dog. The team that beat you in the Super Bowl was like, nah, we gotta get rid of him to win. Like that's who Jared Matthew Stafford. Like.
Let me tell you how you guys sound right now. I like Detroit. This is the most egregious, nastiest take. Listen, it's week 6 going into week 7. Detroit, they're the best team in the NFC. Their last 5 games, they won by a minimum of 14 points. You have handicapped.
I'm hammering this line.
Your discernment, your attitudes about Jared Goff were just absolutely false. This is the best he's played in his career. Mike McDonald, the DC of the Baltimore Ravens, verbatim, he said, listen, Jared Goff, this version of Jared Goff, I have not seen. He's getting the ball out fast. He's predetermined. This reads. It's like Kirk Cousins. It's what happens when you get older in the National Football League. You're holding them with the Rams is a totally different offense. And Ben Johnson is by far the best play caller in football. And he will be a head coach because of this game. This game right here, Sonny, is what you want to circle for the Detroit Lions, what type of season they're going to have. You either are a pretender or a contender. The lowest margin of victory that the Lions have had in 5 weeks is 14 points. So you can say you don't like Goff. You can say you know he's the same one from 2 years ago when he went against one of the best defenses in NFL history in the Super Bowl. That's not who the Ravens are right now.
I ain't even talking about 2 years ago, dog. I'm talking about the year they got him traded. And then, like, I'm just gonna point this out. After Kansas City with no Travis Kelce that they beat by 1. Seattle, not the greatest offense in the world. Atlanta, horrible offense. Green Bay, we saw what Jordan Love was playing like on Thursday Night Football that game. Carolina and Tampa Bay.
This is a new Detroit.
I'm just saying.
You haven't been alive. You haven't been alive when Detroit was 5-1. You haven't seen it. I know.
It's not just Detroit. If any team was 5-1 like this, I would be skeptical.
Hey, Goff, they're not asking Goff to be Deshaun Watson. They have a system that allows the Detroit.
I understand that, Guru.
Brown is a matchup nightmare for the Baltimore Ravens, who don't have Kevon Seymour or Marcus Williams available. Those are I'm just saying. Hey, look, don't get mad at me if at some point it matters that Jared Goff is in this game, and that is the quarterback for the Detroit Lions. The man is not a young man anymore. He is 29 years old. He's not a different guy. This is Jared Goff. And every time you compare Kirk Cousins, I'm like, dog, did he prove to be the same exact dude that we know Kirk to be? Like, this is. Any quarterback.
This is not new change. Changing his name from Titty Boy. This is the same guy that we knew. He is the same.
You gotta let it go.
Promise you, we will be saying this.
I know it's a parlay that you picked them years ago. Forgive him. They're 5-1.
No.
The football team, they're one of the best teams in football. Let's look at
one of the best teams in football.
With Jared. I've been here before with Jared, man. He's playing well, Quincy. He's put together 3 good weeks. This gonna be the one. And then what happened? He do some Jared Goff stuff.
When he goes out there and performs surgery, we'll talk about this Tuesday. But their defense, Sonny, I think is an underrated unit. Aaron Glenn, he's another guy that you might circle for a head coaching job because what he's doing with really no premier guys, Chauncey Gardner on IR. Aiden Hutchinson, really the only pass rush guy. He's still getting pressure. Isaiah Buggs, Melvin. They have guys. The Detroit football team is a team that look at the culture. Look at the steps that they take, and look at the secondary right now with Jerry Jacobs, Cam Sutton, the rookie from Alabama, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. This football team is a bad matchup for the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm appalled that not just UQ, the national media is not sold on Detroit. They are 5-1, and they haven't been 5-1 in my lifetime. So
that's dope. Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love, Bryce Young, Desmond Ritter,
Lamar Jackson,
Geno Smith on that hit list.
Pat
Mahomes without Travis Kelce.
But it's Pat Mahomes.
It is. They almost got patted. They almost got patted in that game. That's what I'm saying. Like, all right, hey, look, I get it. I get why y'all feel the way y'all do. I'm not trying to invalidate y'all feelings about this game. All I'm gonna say is, I think it's gonna matter that that's Jared Goff back there on Sunday.
I like Detroit 40, Ravens 14.
Whoa. That's the first
that just locked it. The Ravens are winning this by 14.
Put it up. You gotta put it on the screen. You gotta put it on the screen.
Wow. Hey, Sonny, you did nothing to deserve this. This was a
wow. I'm shocked here. I'm almost teary here.
No, you know what, Guru? You ran a play there, dog. Like I respect it. I respect the play that you just ran there. I don't even know if you know what you just did to him, but you just ran a play. Sonny, you might as well break the chain out and try to reverse it, dog.
Yeah, reverse jinx it. Okay, so this is what I think about this game. I actually hear a lot of the points that y'all make, and I actually think. I mean, I hear what Q is saying. Q basically, to defend Q here, Q is saying at some point Jared Goff is going to come back to the mean. That's what he's saying. He has a career track record. And actually, he is not as bad as people think. With the Rams, he was better than what people give him credit for.
Mm-hmm.
But he is definitely playing better than what we have ever seen him. And when I see what the Lions do is, to piggyback on what some of what Guru is saying, they don't ask them to do too much. They run the ball well, they play action well, they have weapons, right? And then as you run the ball, that opens things up. That being said, and the other thing is, I was saying this before. I don't know if we saw it in the live or maybe it was in the behind the scenes, but the Ravens not taking the bye week after London. I mean, that trip is tiring, right? So they're coming tired from a game from London. That is all true, so factual. That being said, the Ravens defense, although statistically we're one of the better teams statistically, I think, and I always give it a buck here, I think that is also based on the opponent level. The opponents that we have faced haven't been top offenses. On the other side, I also think the Detroit Lions offense is essentially what I'm saying is both teams are a little overrated on both sides. The offense of the Lions, I think, is a little bit overrated. I think the defense of the Ravens is a little bit overrated based on the opponents that they have faced. That being said, I think what the Ravens need to do is twofold. They need to protect Lamar Jackson because Hutchinson and that D-line and the pressure that they provide quarterbacks is good. They're no pushover. Lamar Jackson, when he has a clean pocket, he's complete, I think, above 70-something%, top in the league. When he gets pressure, it drops significantly, so much that when we play the Colts, a team that does not blitz, they say, F it, we're just going to blitz, I think, 60% of the time or something ridiculous like that, because they know the difference in Lamar's accuracy, pressure without pressure. And all quarterbacks go down in pressure, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that the gap, Lamar without pressure, has been lethal this year. So that's the main thing, right? On the offensive side, can you keep Lamar clean? Obviously, Q said it too. The receivers catch the ball, right? Last week, they went back to, as I said in this stream, I said that was the first game that I saw the receivers dropping the ball left and right. That hasn't been the case throughout the year. And then last week, they went back to just catching the ball. On the other side, can you make Detroit one-dimensional? And here's the key. As y'all say, and I agree with you, Jared Goff has played better. Jared Goff has looked significantly better. Detroit team is a good team. And this could be Detroit's Super Bowl so far. As of, if you check the matchups that they have after this one, I think all teams are not even 500 all the way to like week 15 or 16. Okay? So obviously for them, this is a big matchup. This is how to put their name out there. We beat the Ravens, we beat Cincinnati. I'm sorry, not Cincinnati, Kansas City. And after this, we're going to have teams that are not necessarily 500, right? So what the Ravens need to do, they need to contain Gibbs. They need to contain him in the passing game because he's really good coming out of the backfield. He's really agile, and contain that running game. They do a pretty good job against the run, the Ravens, even though the D-line, I think, has been subpar. They do a good job. Last week, Henry broke, I don't know, like a 50-yard or 60-yard, I can't remember. Right, and then like a 20-yarder. So obviously they gave up 2 big runs. Other than that, they shut him down. But you cannot do that. Because if you really go ahead and shut it down, that running game, then I do think the old Jared Goff comes. Because agreeing here with Guru, then you're gonna force Goff to not be in his comfort zone, not play action, right? So the Ravens need to come in out hot, which they have done, coming hot, score quick, score points early, and stop the run. And if you do those 2 things, if you score early and you stop the run, then you should see that Jared Goff that goes back to a little bit to the mean, right? That now he's not as comfortable. Now he needs to force the ball passing, and they do have weapons. I'm not even saying they do have weapons. The receiving core is good. They have a stretch guy. They have the possession guy. They have the running back. They have the tight end. This is no pushover team. I think it's gonna be a good game, regardless. I think it's
what the hell?
Game, regardless. But yes, I saw that. But saying all that, I go with the Ravens on a field goal, and usually with the Lions, we have been winning by field goals. I go Ravens by field goal, but it's gonna be tough. I'm not gonna lie here and say like, oh, the Lions are push over. No way. I don't think Jared Goff is as bad as some people think.
Don't say some people. Q. Say Q. Say me. Put my name on it.
No. It's not only you. It's not only you, Q, because a lot of Ravens fans had come to me. It's like, yeah, but we're playing Jared Goff. The Lions are good, but we're playing Jared Goff. Yeah. What I'm saying is, if you want to play Jared Goff,
I've been watching, but it's like it's one of them things. It's like
I said the same thing, dog.
I'm like, I know you waiting for them to turn into a pumpkin. Not the whole Lions team. They're gonna be good. They're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna win that division. They're gonna win that NFC North because it's not good. But Jared Goff about to turn it into a pumpkin. He's about to be closer to what, like 11 interceptions this year. He on track for like 7. Nah, like he gonna do his normal like 25, 26, and 11. It's gonna be cool. That's gonna be enough.
The reason I don't think so, Q, is because after the Ravens game, the rest of the opponents, I don't think he's going to have bad games. I think this is a big game for the Lions. This is a big game for the Ravens, too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is a game for the Lions only. And I think, again, the Ravens need to start fast, stop the run, and then you should see the old Jared Goff. Now, if the old Jared Goff's never here,
I cannot believe
it's going to be more problematic. Yes, go ahead.
People who believe in Roquan Smith as an elite linebacker are saying this, that Jared Goff is about to dot them. That's crazy to me. You know what I mean?
what they say, Detroit basketball.
It's a Piston. And Pistons.
I would be
He ain't
happy
been
to
the
see.
same.
Look,
He ain't been the same since he put them Bucks
would
on.
be very happy to see Detroit win this game, right? Because that means the Ravens lose. I'd be absolutely thrilled. So I hope I'm wrong. But I'm never about to bet on Jared Goff, dog. Like that's
minus the lines right now are plus 3.5. By the way, if you want to bet that
on the road,
Guru, you should. You gave
That's
this
kind of crazy, man. That's
Hey,
kind of
plus
crazy.
3.5.
It's only going to be one team this week to win in the AFC North.
That's right, Guru. You pick only the Steelers to win. You had the Browns and Ravens losing. I see the agenda now. Thank you. Brandon Walker here says,
he's running some long plays here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
imagine paying 18 mil for a receiver that wouldn't even make the Bengals practice squad.
He's talking about Odell because Odell's not 18. He's 15, right?
Yeah, he's 15, and then he has
Dog, Jonathan Taylor gotta be sick, man.
Who?
Jonathan Taylor. Odell make $1 million more
than him. Yeah, well,
he got
receiver versus running back.
It's crazy. How is he more valuable? Like how?
Receiver versus running back.
No, we're stuck in these positional paradigms. There's no way.
It's a lot of fraud going on, man.
Plus, like anytime, right? And this time it's for the Ravens.
And the crazy thing is, like, we do this like receiver versus running back thing because it's like, well, the injuries. I'm like, Odell's had more injuries than like your favorite running back.
Fair point, but what I was gonna say is, it goes back. If you get a desperate team, that team will pay whatever, right? And the Ravens are
paid for the brand name of Odell Beckham. They not getting Odell Beckham to play. I knew the expectations were off when fans were cheering him when he walked onto the field on the regular season. I was like, this ain't that Odell Beckham, y'all. Like, I want to do that. And it was like,
I wasn't happy when he came in because he did the Ray Lewis dance. I'm like,
you playing for the brand name of Odell Beckham, you know?
I for one,
you getting the Odell Beckham in the MLS run, you know what I mean?
I for one, the old receiver, because you guys always say like, the Ravens have to have that old receiver. The one that I wanted is in Tennessee. That's the one.
Yeah, he's still good.
Yeah. So anyway, Habitual here said, respect to all of your takes. Sunday we will prove why the AFC North have the best defense, excluding the Baltimore Jets. Oh, okay. Final score 28-13. Well, in Baltimore, there's a thing that, or it was for a while. I don't know if this year it was also true, but every player that we cut ended up being in the Jets.
I remember.
Yes. And even
every team has that, where it's like your cut players end up, because our cut players end up on Houston.
Carolina, how's that working out?
By the way, Guru, thank you to you because you provoked this. Shout out to you for that big booty deep down.
Imagine if he just meant to send $10.
John Moore, thank you so much for that super chat. That's amazing. This
man, come back Tuesday. I have $40.14 for you.
I see what you're saying. I see. You should bet that 40-14 and the game. You're getting points.
That's for some points, yeah.
Yeah, you're getting.
You should throw in some Jared Goff prop bets. You know what I mean?
First touchdown. Yeah, I got you. You know what I'm gonna do? I got it.
You got that. I want you to get that Jared Goff rush touchdown prop bet.
Look at this. Last time, who was the big better in this podcast? It was the Steeler fan. We're getting Guru in that line now. He's on the Jared Goff train. Gagan says Guru pulling up with 42 dog is
went straight to the D. I thought he was gonna play the Peasy. He's gonna be playing Peasy on Tuesday.
Hey, I think it's gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be a close game. To be honest,
Detroit to Florida is a wild pipeline. By the way, I just want to point that out. That is a wild pipeline. Is
that where most players are from? The Lions?
No. I was just saying, like, just in general, Detroit to Florida those are two of the extremes of each coast.
Okay. That being said, guys, make sure you come back Tuesday. We'll be here. We'll see right to right.
Oh, hey, I got to ask you a question before we go.
What's up?
You go into this 49ers game?
Nah, I'm not going.
Next week you go. You not going? Is it in Cincinnati?
Nah, it's in San Francisco.
Oh, that erases the bye week advantage.
It's better to get them after the bye. But look, we were talking.
I'm like, if they gonna have a revenge game after
They gonna know.
Kirk
Kirk Cousins about to die.
Go
on Monday Night Football.
Go ahead and take it out on them. Go ahead. I don't know.
Kirk Cousins is about to have 14 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Okay.
By the way, so the stat here for the audience, 59% on the Lions. And for the podcaster here is 50-50.
59 of y'all. 59% of y'all. Hold on, wait. I'm not going to let this slide from our audience. 59% of y'all bet on Jared Goff, and 75% of y'all voted bet on Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
All right. We'll see how that one work out.
Anyway, make sure you come back on Tuesday where we're going to be live. If you're watching the replay, let us know who are your picks. And you know what? I would like to see the score prediction too. Because
Jared Goff is Matthew Stafford with ads. Like, that's what Jared Goff is.
Oh my goodness.
We found a new slender for Q. We found a new one. Anyway, y'all, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace out.